Hi, it's Dr. Parikh, and you made it to the last module. Woohoo! So this module is a little shorter than some, in part because I imagine that your advocacy project is going to take some time. There's not as many videos, and they're focused on an example of advocacy in action that actually features a friend of mine, Dr. Priya Jadeja, and it was really cool. I was there with her when her bill was passed. One thing I'll say, this is just an example of advocacy. It's not meant, it's interesting information, but it's not really content. In the past, I've noticed students tend to try to focus on these videos for their discussions, and it just falls pretty flat. So I've made a rule for this time that for going forward, that the videos for this particular module, I just couldn't find any great ones that on advocacy and whatnot. So for this time, the videos can't count as sources for your discussion, for your topical post. It has to come from the readings for this one. So this time you do have a check-in post. I don't do a lot of them, but it's almost more of a check-out post, sort of final reflections on the course. I think it's always nice to have a space to talk about something, especially something like this course for me is the kind of thing that sort of changes the way I think about the world in a way that never quite goes away. Like, I will probably live rent-free in your heads. Sorry, you're welcome, however that goes. So I think just to take time to think about how the course has gone. It's accelerated, it's online, but also this course in particular is so life relevant. It's so easy to apply to our lived experiences, both like broadly and just in a day-to-day moment. You have a topical post as usual. As I said, that one you're limited to the readings because I couldn't find great videos for this week. You also have an advocacy project follow-up post. So let's head over to the discussion board and look more closely at that. And there's a note reminding you that you can't use the videos. So for this one, just kind of briefly, you told your peers what your ideas were, but unless they're in your group, they don't know what you decided to actually do. And so this is just so you can all see what each other has done. And sometimes you forget how, when you're in the middle of something, you forget how cool your idea was until you get to tell other people about it. And I love hearing about it, but this way you get to hear about each other's ideas and how things worked out. And things may not have turned out the way you thought. Sometimes you have to scale projects down. And again, that's something I will give very direct feedback on in the discussion board of I think this might be too large or too small of a project. But also sometimes you get a really cool outcome. Sometimes you kind of don't. It's up to you. I encourage you to share what you actually did, like any social media posts you made or things like that. Either links or screenshots or videos or whatnot. Just make sure it's all accessible. And that's pretty much it for the discussion board. You have your advocacy project paper. Let me go back over that. I think I might have looked at it before, but I'm going to go over it again. Advocacy project. Okay. So choose a way to advocate for women and girls. And again, I'm open to other gender identities, as long as you can kind of explain how it fits with this course and how you are addressing equity issues. So you're going to explain kind of the need, purpose, and scope. So what was the need for this to be done? What's your purpose? What are you trying to do? And your scope is how big is your project? And intervention is just whatever you're doing. So kind of what are you doing and why? And you need citations from at least 3 sources. Not my videos, but any readings and other videos that are in the course. So 3, it could be outside, but it's fine if all 3 are from this course. So you've got this, somewhat set up already, and then you'll add on what you actually did and anything you got. So if you got comments, or again, if you took people somewhere, what did they say? How did they respond? How did the day go? And it's okay if you say, I sent a letter to a company and haven't heard back yet. If it's an email or a comment, you'll probably have at least an auto response, but you might never hear back anything specific. So it should be APA style, and I describe what that means. It should be about 2 to 3 pages long. It doesn't have to be a terribly long paper, but it needs to be clear. I need to be able to picture exactly what happened. If you're not sure if it's detailed enough, try to ask someone, maybe a peer in class, to trade papers, and ask them to tell you anytime they get confused, anytime they feel like they don't have enough information to really follow what's happening here. Excuse me. I do want a title page and a reference page, and your reference page should include your 3 sources. And I also want to see anything that you created, posted. If you, let's say you watched a movie and led a discussion with some friends, what were your discussion questions? That's actually a really good example that I should put somewhere earlier in the course and not right here. Again, group projects are great. Just let me know ahead of time so that I can approve it and say, particularly if it's a larger group, we can talk about how to make the project a little more involved to make sure everybody can do something meaningful to contribute. For this one, because you're turning in papers, you could each write your own paper. You could also do a shared paper, meaning everybody turns in one paper, everybody gets one paper grade. With that, you would just include an additional, sort of a more informal reflection. 50 to 100 words, that's like half a page. It's not terribly long, from each group member. So I'm okay either way if you want to each be responsible for your own grades, shared project, individual grades, or if you want to do the write-up together as well. But if you do the write-up together, I still want to hear something individual from each of you as part of it. Let's look at the rubric for that real quick. So formatting, organization, can I follow it? Does it make sense? Do you discuss the purpose? So that need, purpose, and scope. Do you have course content in here? And I give examples of the kinds of course contents. This isn't to say you have to have all of these, but this is the kind of thing that we talk about in this course that I'm looking for. And I'm just going through the rubrics. You can see exactly what it is. Here I list gender identity, beliefs about women and girls, understanding of gender roles, participation in media, and understanding of intersectionality. Reporting back just what happened, because up to that point is kind of your plan. Did you use at least 3 sources? And it's fine if you also want to talk about lectures or class discussions, but that's not the same as a source. You don't just list something, you tie it in and it's convincing that it is part of it. Clear and accurate citations, references, approximate length and depth. And these aren't hard, it doesn't have to be exactly 2 to 3 pages. I would be really suspicious of anything that's less than 2 pages, doing everything it needs to do. If you're at 4 pages, maybe even 5, I am not angry. If you're at 10, you've definitely written too much and need to cut it down a little bit, because I will have a really hard time picking out the main ideas from something that long for this type of project. So general grammar and mechanics, so things are written clearly. You follow the generally agreed upon rules of academic English. Professional tone, so no slang, no contractions. This one, it's fine if you use first person perspective, so saying I did this, that's fine. And then that you include any reference materials I need to really understand what you've done. So a copy of any letters you've sent, a link to any social media posts, things like that. Okay, so that's the rubric. So that's your advocacy project paper, and then one last quiz, and then you're out of here for the semester. I really love this class, and I'm excited to go through it with you, and you will be, by the time you see this video, you will be excited to be done with it. So take care. Bye-bye.